gosh. Yep. So Brent's going to be on tour with us. Oh, Guelph, Toronto High. So Brent, we really have you covered across the country today.
Looks that way, yeah. I've seen pretty much every province popping up in front of me here.
Well,
I know.
Mississauga, hello. We got
British
Newfoundland on
Columbia.
Facebook. Hi, Arlene. We'll see you on Wednesday. Mississauga, hi, Alvi. Okay, great. This is awesome. Hello, hello. Hi, Karen from Toronto. So I'm looking at Facebook because that's over here, Brent, right?
Yep.
Someone's gonna who said they're gonna see us Thursday? Oh, Alicia, we'll see you on Thursday. Hi, Paul. Paul, around the corner from Ethel's two cats. Okay, Paul is hilarious. We've got Quebec on here, Winnipeg. Hello, everyone. Great to see you all. Thank you all for joining us today. I know you're in for a real treat because we have our friend here from Spoiled Agent, Brent Carnegie, who represents Nassau on Paradise Island. Hello, Brent.
Hello, hello, and hello, everybody.
How's it going?
It's going good. I can't complain.
I feel like it's a celebration today because we have Brent
Oh,
on
look at
because we
that. I
love
love that.
Brent.
That's great.
Like I said, Brent is going to be on tour with us. So if you're in Newfoundland on Wednesday, you're going to see us and a few
Mhm.
other suppliers, of course. And if
Yes.
you're in the Halifax, Nova Scotia area, you're going to see us on Thursday. And it's going
There's-
to be a great time at both, right, Brent?
It certainly is. It's always great at a spoiled agent show.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us today. Good afternoon, Brent. Is Jennifer saying hi to you as well?
Hi.
So this session is being recorded, everyone, and you're going to get the latest and greatest updates from Brent about Nassau and Paradise Island. And Brent, I know you've been very generous today with an amazing prize. Do you want to let the spoiled agents know what that is?
Yeah, somebody's going to get $100 Amazon gift card at the shortly.
Wow. Okay, so and we're going to give Brent a couple days to pick because he'll be traveling with me. So he'll be getting the list and he'll pick a winner as well. So you guys have to just stay on the question period in order to qualify. How's that, Brent?
Sounds good to me.
Wonderful. You got lots of hearts and loves. Facebook is live over here. We got a lot of people on. So I'm going to
Awesome.
let you share your screen,
Okay, let me just do this here. We'll do
your
share.
sound,
And here we go.
and then whatever. And if you guys have any questions, please add them to the Q&A box. And then Brent and I will take them at the
Oh,
very end. How's that?
all right. Let me get back here to the beginning here. One
Sure.
sec. Don't
Take
know
your
how we
time.
ended up. Don't know how we ended up there. There we go. We're all set
All right,
now.
I'm going to let you go and I'll see
Technology
you
is
guys
our
at the
friend.
Q&A box. Okay, Brent?
Sorry,
I'll see
I
you guys
missed
at the
that.
Q&A box.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for joining me today. And looking forward to telling you a little bit about Nassau and Paradise Island. And as Susan said, for those of you I don't know, and I did see quite a few names on there that I do. My name is Brent Carnegie, and I'm actually from CanLink Travel, and we represent Nassau and the Nassau and Paradise Island Promotion Board here in Canada, and have for quite some time. So again, thank you all for joining this afternoon. We're going to give you a little bit of an overview on the destination and what there is to do there, what there is to see, and then we'll open it up for questions, as Susan said, a little along. I'm going to attempt not to cough in your ear. I got a slight little bit of a cold, but I do have some water here just in case. So just a forewarning. Anyway, let's get started. Let's start it off here with a little whoops, sorry. What am I doing here? With a little video for you. Okay, whoops, we're gonna play that again. Here we go. I like that video because it's a good way to get started because it's sort of upbeat and good up-tempo type of music, just like a holiday in Nassau and Paradise Island. Now, of course, when you think of Nassau and Paradise Island, one of the main things that you're going to think about is sun, sand, and sea, with the beautiful blue waters, the 300 days of sunshine a year, white sandy beaches, and the breeze blowing through your hair, et cetera, et cetera. Be nice right now. I don't know. Well, I know that there are people from all over Canada, but here in Toronto, it's a little nippy out there this morning. I was out walking the dog and thinking, oh, it'd be nice to be in Nassau right about now. Anyway, but there is a lot more to the destination than sun, sea, and sand. We're going to get, I'm going to take you through a few of the things that normally aren't talked about as much. As I said, you always hear about the iconic resorts that we have in the destination and the beaches and the great weather and all of that type of thing. But let's talk about first a couple of other things that maybe isn't talked about quite so often because there is so much to do in the destination outside of those other things that we normally think of. Excuse me. Uh, Art, history, and culture is a perfect example. There's such a history in Nassau and Paradise Island, going back for hundreds of years. And you can see all of this through art, through the cathedrals, through the buildings, through the different architecture, the three forts that you'll find in Nassau and Paradise Island. And you have to remember as well, one of the things is that Nassau has quite a history of pirates, and I'm going to get to Queen's Staircase in a minute. A history of pirates going back hundreds and hundreds of years. And one of the things that we recommend that people like to do who are into that type of thing is to visit the Pirate Museum that is on Bay Street, right downtown in Nassau. Really unique exhibits, really unique thing to see. Kids love it too. And it really is something just a little bit different if you want to take a break from the beach. The Queen's Staircase is our most visited attraction in Nassau. It's right close to downtown, so it's a great thing to walk over and see. Over the last year, Nassau Paradise Island Promotion Board was heavily involved in restoring the Queen's Staircase back to its original glory. And they've done such a great job. When you go there now, you'll see water features all around Queen's Staircase. It's lit up beautifully at night. But it's really something to see because of the history behind it. It was named for Queen Victoria, and 66 steps, all from stone quarried from right around Nassau. So it's really something just again a little bit different to do and a little bit different to see in Nassau. Oh, sorry, I'm skipping too many here. And rum, if you're into rum, of course, Nassau's got a very big history in rum. And one of the interesting things to do is go to John Watling's distillery. They'll show you exactly how the rum's made. And of course, they've been doing it for 175 years. And of course, you get your choice to buy a couple of bottles at the end if you so desire. And of course, Nassau and the Bahamas in general are incredibly well known for Junkanoo. If you don't know what Junkanoo is, if you haven't ever experienced, it's really something that's worth seeing. Junkanoo is all about celebrating. Okay, so Junkanoo bands every New Year's is the festival in the Junkanoo Festival in Nassau, and bands and everyone dress up and down the main streets. Incredible music, lots of drums and whistles. Really, really interesting and really something to see. New at the new port, which we'll get to in a minute. I'll talk about the port in a second. Is the Junkanoo Museum. New Junkanoo Museum is located right at the new port in Nassau, and it's a great way to get a little bit of a background on what Junkanoo is all about, hear a little bit of the music, and sort of get into the rhythm. While I'm doing that, I'm going to talk just a little bit about the cruise port. So anyone who hasn't been there at the cruise port on a cruise ship in the last couple of years will see a big change when they sail into Nassau now. As you may or may not know, Nassau is the second largest cruise port in the Caribbean after St. Thomas in the US Virgin Islands. So we have a very large cruise port. Over the last 2 years, we've completely renovated the entire port. We've made it absolutely beautiful, very much more welcoming than it was in the past. It did need some work, and they've done just a great job. So you'll find for your cruise passengers throughout the port now, as they get off the cruise ship, they'll see shops and restaurants, the Junkanoo Museum, entertainment when they get off. They've done just a great job. So as I said, if any of your passengers, you or any of your passengers haven't been there in the last couple of years, it's really worth seeing the changes that have happened down there. So one of the things that isn't talked about as much, but which is very prevalent in Nassau, is gourmet. We have incredible gourmet restaurants all around the island. As a matter of fact, it's not even just gourmet. There's every type of food that you can possibly think of, from top end right down to the little seafood shacks down on the beach in Arawak Key. Um, the main hotels, of course, have lots of great restaurants, and Grey Cliff Hotel, which we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes, is really interesting to see, even if it's just to go over and see their wine cellar, which is one of the third largest wine cellar actually in the world. It's really quite something to see. We'll get to that in a minute. Lots of festivals around food, cooking classes, lots of things. But one of the things I always suggest to people, if you haven't been, is to go down and check out Arawak Key. Arawak Key is about 5-10 minutes by cab away from downtown Nassau. And it's an area with local traditional restaurants where you can get your conch salad and lobster and just about any type of seafood you can think of. All the brightly colored Bahamian buildings, and it's really a place that I always accept. I always think people should go and see, but it's because it's very, very typically Bahamian. And once you've eaten all that food, I guess you need a little health and wellness. Well, there's lots of that in the island. There's 7 different spas located in Nassau on Paradise Island. Few unique things that you can do in this one picture. I think it's always interesting. You can actually do yoga with the flamingos at Bahamar Hotel. And we don't have a picture of it here, but one of the things that's sort of interesting is you can actually go paddleboarding with the dolphins in Atlantis. So there's lots of options. There's just about every type of treatment you can think of, regardless of which spa you go to in Nassau and Paradise Island. And for those who like to get out and do some activities, we've got lots of that as well in the destination. We've got 2 championship courses, the Royal Blue Bahamar, which is directly across the street from Bahamar. This course, when Bahamar, it used to be many years ago, in my old life, this was the Radisson Cable Beach golf course. When Bahamar built their new complex, they completely renovated this entire course, and it is absolutely beautiful. The other course that we have is the Four Seasons Ocean Club course, which is over on Paradise Island, which is also a top level course. Every year they do the Michael Jordan celebrity golf tournament over there. And the beauty again with all of these courses is, number one, you've got one on each island, one on Paradise Island, one on Nassau. So they're both very close. They're both championship rated golf course. And of course, with our 300 days of sunshine a year, it's the perfect place for golfing. So if you're not into golfing, or if you are into golfing and you'd like to supplement that with something else, tennis is available throughout most of our hotels across both of the islands. And now, of course, which is important to Canadians, is pickleball. Many of the what am I trying to say? Many of the resorts that have tennis courts have changed some of them over to pickleball courts. So if you do have pickleball clients, and as we know, it's very, very popular now, they're going to have no problem finding a place to play when they're in Nassau and Paradise Island. Romance. Anything to do with any type of wedding can be done in Nassau, from unique weddings to vow renewals, anything. Just about all of the major hotels have their own wedding planners. And on our website, and I should mention Nassau Paradise Island nassauparadise.com, which is our website. And it's really worth going in to take a look. If there's anything, any information that you need whatsoever about Nassau and Paradise Island, I suggest you take a look at our website at nassauparadiseisland.com, because you will find sections on there for everything: weddings, honeymoons, ground handlers, excursions, hotels, any festivals that are on. It's just a wealth of information. And you will find a whole section on there, as I mentioned, about romance in Nassau. And to go along with the weddings, of course, we've got honeymoons, and honeymoons can be a combination of anything. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we do get a lot of is people getting married in Nassau and then going out to the out islands in the Bahamas for more of a relaxed trip, because in Nassau and Paradise Island, there's lots going on. It's where all the action is, all the big hotels, lots of restaurants and things. Although you can find the little nooks and crannies where it's great to be able to lay back and relax. But one of the popular things to do is to do a split vacation with Nassau and Paradise Island, and then take a flight or a boat over to one of the out islands. So it's a great combination for a wedding honeymoon. As a matter of fact, it's exactly what I did many, many moons ago. My wife and I got married in Nassau at the Radisson Cable Beach, which I mentioned recently, which, by the way, and people were asking me about this just the other day. I'll finish what I was saying. We got married there, and then we went over to Long Island in the out islands for our honeymoon, it really was a nice combination. And like I said, that was a few years back. But for those of you who are wondering, because the question came up to me when I was on the road last week about the Radisson Cable Beach, which became the Sheraton Cable Beach, which then became the Melia. People were asking me about the Melia because they don't see it for sale anymore. Well, just last fall, it was completely torn down. And in the next little while, we're going to have a new property that's going to be built, which has been kept under wraps to us so far. So we don't know exactly what's going to be up there, but shortly, that site will have a brand new property. So we'll let you know when that happens. And one of the things, and another thing that people really don't think about Nassau and Paradise Island a lot about, is unique things to do, especially for the kids or the grown kids like me, because I love water parks as well, is we actually have 3 major water parks in Nassau and Paradise Island. Aqua Adventure over at Atlantis, which has been around for a long time, which everyone really knows. That's where you've got the picture on the left, where the slide, you come down through the tube and you end up in a pool surrounded by sharks. Of course, you've got a glass tube around you, sharks swimming around you, and then the lazy river ride, which is more my style, and I can just lie on those tubes there on the right-hand side and relax as you go around the lazy river. Over at Baja Bay, over at Baja Mar, there's the Baja Bay water park, and fairly new is the Fins Up water park at Margaritaville, which is right at the end of downtown, at the end of Bay Street. So now let's talk about some of the hotels. Of course, Nassau, Paradise Island have some of the most iconic hotels that are known around the world. First, we'll talk about Baja Mar. Baja Mar is a 2,300 room complex consisting of 3 different hotels, which I'm going to show you a video, and then I'm also going to show you a map of the property that'll show you which tower and which hotel is which. But this like Atlantis, these 2 complexes have just about something for everybody. Baja Mar, for instance, as it says here, has 40 different restaurants and bars. So there's obviously lots and lots to choose from. 14 swimming pools, the largest casino in the Caribbean, art galleries, nightclubs, and the water park. So lots and lots of different things to see. So let's show you a quick video on this. Oh, sorry. Okay, so that just gives you a little overview of what Baha Mar is all about. Activities galore. Something for everyone. You saw there, actually, you got to see there the yoga with the flamingos, the mini golf, lots and lots of things to do there. Now, the hotel or the property is three different hotels, and here's the layout of it. Right in the center, the two big towers you see are the Grand Hyatt Baha Mar. And then over to your, is that your right or my left? Anyway, you'll see it there. Rosewood Baha Mar, which is the high-end luxury, most luxurious property of the three. And then over to the right-hand side, the pink building that you see there is the SLS property, which is a great property for, it's a little bit smaller, lots of activity going on. They've got a great bar down in the main lobby. And of course, the casino is located over in the Grand Hyatt the Grand Hyatt. Excuse me. And then, of course, we've got the iconic Atlantis Paradise Island, which has been around for a long time and are still doing just a fabulous job. Done a lot of work over the last little while on renovations on the property. And again, like Baha Mar, there's 40 different restaurants and bars to choose from at this hotel. So there's just about every cuisine you can think of. Celebrity chefs quite often are doing the menus at many of the restaurants here. There's the famous 141 acre water park and the marine habitat. Now, one of the questions I get all the time about Atlantis is day passes. Can people get in and do day passes? And this is important to know because clients ask about this all the time. So I'll bring you up to date because this has changed a little bit in the last little while. You can no longer buy day passes on the day of arrival, or sorry, at the property. Okay. You can also no longer buy day passes on the cruise ships, which you used to be able to do in the past. If you have clients who want to go down to use the water park, to use the facilities at Atlantis, to go in and see the marine habitat, you have to buy your pass in advance. You can do that on Atlantis's website, but you can no longer buy. It's important to know that you can no longer buy it at the hotel or on any of the cruise ships. Okay, so really important to know. Um, They've completely renovated. One of the things I wanted to mention here was the casino. If you haven't been there in a while, has been completely renovated. They've done a great job. Looks really super. I'll show you a quick video on Atlantis. Okay, so one of the things about Atlantis that I should mention as well is we often get passengers coming off of the cruise ships who want to go over and see Atlantis. And one of the things I always recommend, if you do have passengers who do want to go over to Atlantis off of the cruise ship, whether it's just to walk around the property or whether they do have a day pass to go into the marine habitat and the water park, is when they get off the cruise ship, they have two choices. You can either take a cab. Sorry, take a cab. I was going to say cab or taxi across over the bridge, which will take you right over. But the way that I always suggest for passengers off the cruise ships to get over is when they disembark the cruise ship, right at the pier, there are water taxis, and there's a big sign that says water taxi to Paradise Island. And they can go on there and they can hop on the water taxi, and it'll take them across. And it's 5 or 10 minutes across in the water taxi, and it's relatively inexpensive, and it's a nice trip over there. And I always recommend doing it that way as opposed to taking the cab around. Both work, but the water taxi is just a nice, you're down there, might as well be out in the sunshine. So, um, now I should also mention when I said that people can't access Atlantis Paradise Island without the day pass. That really just includes the water park and the marine habitat. Of course, they can go in and walk all around the property, go into the casino, see the rest of the property, but unless you've got that day pass, you can't get into either the water park or the marine habitat. Excuse me. So there are 5 different towers or properties at Atlantis. You've got the Coral and the Reef, which are the two highest end properties there. You've got, of course, the Royal, which is one of the main buildings. And I just also wanted to mention the Harborside Resort. Harborside is a little bit unique, although as you can see in the picture here, it's set back from the rest of the property. It's smaller, but it's still such a short walk. But this is a great place to go if you're looking for an apartment style hotel, because the Harborside Resort has kitchenettes, great for families, and something that people don't think of a lot of times when they're thinking about Atlantis on Paradise Island. So, along with those two big resorts, I'm going to jump right over to a smaller one called Comfort Suites. And there's a main reason why I like to talk about Comfort Suites, and that is that Comfort Suites is one of the best kept secrets from a value point of view in Nassau and Paradise Island. And let me tell you why. First of all, the property itself is a gorgeous little property. It is 223 junior suites, so it's fairly small when you're comparing it to an Atlantis or a Baha Mar. Breakfast is included daily here. But the big thing about this property is when you're staying here, you get complete full access to Atlantis, which includes the water park, the marine habitat. You can go down and use the chairs on the beach. You can use Atlantis just as if you were staying in Atlantis for a lot less expensive price. Okay. So for the people who want to experience Atlantis, would like to spend some time there, but don't really have the budget or want to spend the Atlantis type of dollars, Comfort Suites is an absolutely perfect. It's a beautiful little property. It is steps from the side door at Atlantis, and it is just a great value considering day passes into Atlantis are fairly expensive now, and the fact that you can get complete full access when you stay at Comfort Suites is a great option. So it's something to keep in mind for people who are looking for that access to Atlantis without actually staying there. The British Colonial. Many of you will probably know this hotel. It has been around for over 100 years. It was closed for the last 2 years and did extensive renovations, essentially gutted the entire property and redid it. Famous property known for the James Bond movies that were filmed here and is absolutely beautiful. I was down here to see it last July, and I just couldn't believe it. I've been back and forth to this property for years and years, and I just couldn't believe it. The function that I was at, actually, they did a big function right around the swimming pool area that you see there and did a beautiful job. But the hotel is just fabulous. So I always suggest to people who are down there, because it's such an iconic property as well, and especially for James Bond fans, if you're in Nassau, walk down to the end of Bay Street, and it's right at the very end of Bay Street. It's worth just going in and taking a look around if you like the old style type of hotels. They've done just a great job here. Now, going from old to new is the Goldwyn Hotel. The Goldwyn Hotel is a new luxury boutique property that sits right on the end of Cable Beach. It is an absolutely beautiful property. It's only 81 rooms. And you can see here that it is right smack dab on the beach. They've got a beautiful bar and restaurant right down by the pool. And for people who are just looking to relax, there's just great a great vibe here, I guess is the only way that I can say it. Really good vibe here. Not a crazy party type of place, but the place to just go and relax in luxury. And it's Canadian owned, by the way. So I'll just skip by there and show you. I want to talk a little bit about Grey Cliff because Grey Cliff is such a unique property in Nassau. Unlike most of our hotels, Grey Cliff isn't on the beach. It's right in the center of Nassau. It's been around forever. It's been around a long time. It's small, it's unique, and it's for people who are really looking for something different. There are only 20 rooms, and it's like stepping back in history when you're at Grey Cliff. And another thing about Grey Cliff, this is one of the places that I recommend for people, even if you're not staying there, to take a walk up and see Grey Cliff because it's an attraction in itself. They have I'm going to show you a video on this, but they have the third largest wine cellar in the world at Grey Cliff, which is hard to believe in Nassau. And to go in and have a tour of the property, excuse me. Sorry, excuse me. And to go in and have a tour of the wine cellar is really an experience. It's like you'll see the pictures of it here. You go down into the basement and you duck your head, and there is hundreds and hundreds of bottles of wine throughout it. It's really something that's quite unique to see. But that's not the only attraction there. There's also a chocolate factory on the property. There's a rum distillery. There's a cigar factory. And not to mention the fact that they have one of the best restaurants and most famous restaurants in all of Nassau. Show you a quick video. So again, you can see that Grey Cliff is very unique, very different. I forgot to mention that table that you saw down there in the wine cellar. You can actually reserve that, and that is down underground in the basement, right in the center of the wine cellar. And I believe it can take up to 6 people for dinner, and quite an experience. I had the opportunity to do it quite a few years back now. Really incredible. It's like you're in a whole different world. It's almost like you're in a movie down there. That's what I felt like when I was there. Anyway, very unique, very unique. So the Ocean Club Four Seasons Resort is the ultimate in luxury in Nassau and Paradise Island. Ocean Club is over on Paradise Island. It's a boutique luxury property on a huge piece of property right on the beach in Paradise Island. There's 170 rooms, suites, and villas on the property, 5 restaurants, which is a lot of restaurants for a property that only has 107 rooms, 3 swimming pools. And for those people who are golfers, it's right directly next to the Ocean Club golf course, right next door. And it is an absolutely beautiful property for your high-end, top-end luxury type of clients. As I said, it's not a big piece of property, as it mentions here, 35 different acres. The other thing I didn't mention as well is complimentary transfers here between Atlantis and the water park. So clients at Ocean Club once a week will get access into the water park for free. Okay, it's not unlimited access, but they do have that. Okay. And one of the newer properties in Nassau is the Margaritaville Resort, with Margaritaville Beach Resort, which is right down next to the British Colonial that I showed you. Funky property along the lines of all of the other Margaritaville properties, 295 rooms, again on a beautiful beach and along with the water park. It's a great spot for kids. And I should mention as well with Margaritaville, it's a really neat location because it is right downtown. And I recommend with everybody when they're in Nassau, regardless of where they stay, to go down to Bay Street and walk along Bay Street, which is the main street downtown in Nassau. This is where you'll find all the shops and the restaurants. The Pirate Museum that I mentioned is down on Bay Street. The famous Straw Market is right down there. And of course, the cruise port, the Parliament buildings, everything is right along Bay Street. And Margaritaville is right at the very end of Bay Street, right next to the British Colonial Hotel. So it's a great location. And the last property that I'm going to talk about today is Sandals Royal Bahamian. One of the questions I get asked about a lot in Nassau and Paradise Island is all-inclusives. We don't have a lot of all-inclusive properties. But one of the main ones that we do have is the Sandals Royal Bahamian. And many of you may have been there in the past, but over the last couple of years, they've done an extensive renovation, have just done a great job with the property. They have, as I said, they've renovated all of the rooms, they've renovated all of the public areas as well. One of the things that's very unique about this property is they have their own private island, and you can take a boat over to the private island where they have their own beach club, another restaurant over there, and it's a real great day out. 400 room property, 10 restaurants. Again, a lot of restaurants, as in typical Sandals style. And of course, and what they've done over during the renovations is put food trucks all around the property as well. So they've done a great job in the last couple of years with the renovations that they've done on the property. And of course, lots and lots of things going on there. The food trucks are pretty cool because you can go down and you can just have a burger, or you can have some seafood in some of them, and I think tacos in another one. So it's a unique kind of casual experience. So just to finish off, let's talk a little bit about Lyft. Of course, we're very happy. We're very well served pretty much across the country with Air Canada and WestJet. Air Canada departs out of Toronto every day, year round, as does WestJet. So we've got both Air Canada and WestJet daily out of Toronto, year round, out of Montreal 4 times a week with Air Canada during the winter season, out of Calgary. Nassau depart on Saturdays with WestJet. And something that I want to mention for my West Coast people out there in Vancouver, unfortunately, we don't have any direct flights out of Vancouver yet. We're working on it. But one of the things that just started last year were new flights out of Seattle with Alaska Airlines. They're twice a week out of Seattle with Alaska, which is great because, as you know, it's a couple hours drive down, if that. And you've got your direct nonstop flights with Alaska straight out of Seattle. And of course, out of Vancouver, your other option is to fly into Calgary or Toronto or Montreal to connect down to Nassau. So the lift is really good. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for joining me. And at any time, you'll see my email address down there and phone number. If there's ever anything you have any questions about, you can give me a call or Elaine a call, and we'd be happy to help you out with anything that we can. So thank you for joining us.
Amazing. Great job. Really
Thank you.
great. There's so many amazing comments on Zoom, on Facebook. Like everyone, a lot of them have been. They really, Helen saying the Great Cliff Hotel looks so unique, something to
Yeah.
offer, just 20 rooms.
Yeah.
Um, oh, someone just said they book a lot of clients, of course, the Comfort Inn.
Yeah.
And actually, Arlene on Facebook, one of our Newfoundland friends, is asking, are there resort fees at the properties?
Yes, there is. Properties have a resort fee, and I can't remember the exact percentage, but I know that it's on our website. But yeah, they do charge a resort fee. Hmm.
Okay. All right, let's get to some questions here. I'm looking at Zoom first.
Okay.
So do you offer halal food? Is it available in the hotels and the restaurants in the area?
Yeah, most of the hotels, I can't say it would be available at all of the properties, but I've found when I get questions like this that the hotels are really accommodating. If we have someone who's going down to one of the properties, generally, if we let them know, we ask the questions, they're usually really accommodating with that. And I know even on the main menus throughout, there are a lot of different types of options. I don't know about halal specifically and in which specific restaurants, but usually they're very, very accommodating and there's lots of options for everyone.
Okay. Wendy, Brent gave an update on sandals. If you have another question about it, just let us know. So Jillian's asking, can you stay and play at other resorts while in the Baha Mar?
Most because of the fact that most of the properties in Nassau are not all inclusive, you're certainly welcome to go and use the facilities at any of the other properties. For instance, if you're staying at Atlantis and you want to go to a restaurant in Baja Mar, by all means, and the other way around. So it all depends. I mean, like as in most resorts, you're not going to be able to go and you sit around their pool and that type of thing, but in terms of the facilities such as the restaurants and the casinos and that type of thing, of course you are. But other than the comfort suites and the Atlantis combination there that we talked about, the rest of them are just sort of one-offs with the restaurants and that sort of thing.
Actually, I just see a comment from our friend Jaime. Hi, Jaime. He
Hi,
said that
Jaime.
in the Baja, they have a kosher restaurant. So
Ah, there you go.
someone's looking for
Thanks, Jaime.
kosher. Hi, guys. He says hi. Jillian says NASA is simply stunning experience. If you have never gone, she highly recommends it. Jillian said that.
Oh, good. Thank you, Jillian.
Megan's asking on Zoom, is one of the Baja Mar resorts options adults only?
Uh, Adults only. Let me think about it. Yeah, one of the properties, let me think about this now for a second. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of the properties, it's actually not a part of Nassau Paradise Island Promotion Board. There's a few properties that we don't handle, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe either Ryu or Warwick is an adults only property.
Okay,
Can't
great.
remember which one. Yeah.
Sandra's asking, and Sandra, I like this question. I think it's called paddle or padel. I'm not sure. I think it's paddle. It's a very popular sport in Europe. Are there any paddle courts? So it's kind of in between tennis and pickleball.
Yeah, I've heard about that, and I don't even know what it is, to tell you the
I
truth.
do,
And
I
it's
do.
actually a really good question. And you know what? Be honest, I don't know the answer. But it's interesting because this came up just last week when I was out doing one of our shows, and I have a note to look it up and to find out. So I don't have it yet, but feel free to send me a note, and I will find out because I got to find out for myself, right? Figure out what's going on.
Yeah, no problem. Sandra, we're answering your questions right now. She's letting us know if we can see them. Okay, another question from Sandra. Can the Comfort Suites guests use the pool and beach at the Atlantis as well?
Yes, absolutely. They can use all the facilities. It's just as if they're staying at Atlantis,
Okay. Jillian's asking, are the day passes purchased through the Atlantis website or the Bahamas website?
the Atlantis website.
And Shabina's asking, are the Atlantis day passes commissionable?
Hmm. That I don't know. That's something I'm going to have to check on. I don't know the answer to that.
So
Sorry.
Graham's telling me he's just
I
saying
make a
it's
note here.
pronounced
That's another thing I have to look up. It's a good question.
Padel. Thank you, Graham. Thank you. I wasn't sure. That's great. Well, it's going to be the new hot sport.
I guess so. Yeah, I'm gonna check that. I'm just making a couple of notes here because I like to, because even for me, I love to hear new questions like that I don't know because it gives me, like you can find out what's going on, right?
Yeah, no, for
That's great.
sure.
Okay.
Awesome.
Commission.
Thank you, Graham.
All
Okay,
right.
Kate's asking, can you speak to the resorts that are more accessible, autism friendly?
I know that each of the individual sites or each of the individual hotels have information about accessibility on their websites. I can't tell you myself exactly which would be best to that. What I recommend doing is taking a look at the individual websites. One of the nice things about Nassau and Paradise Island is that I have found is in most cases it's very Atlantis is actually a good example. I was actually just there a while back with somebody who was in a wheelchair and they had no problem getting around the property whatsoever. So I can speak about Atlantis. Um, and I believe it's the same with Baja Mar. Some of the smaller properties, I don't know. I think it's best, rather than me to give you the wrong information, to check directly on their websites with them.
Yes. Okay, perfect. And Sandra's just saying yes, Padel is really popular for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I've heard about it a couple of times now, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
check it out.
And some other resorts have picked it up as well.
Okay, very good. Good to
Yeah,
know.
good to know. I want to try it. I'm not gonna like we play tennis,
Yeah,
we do pickleball, so I'm up for the next racket sport. Let me tell you that.
I actually, believe it or not, I actually just tried pickleball for the first time about a year ago. And man, I'll tell you, it's fun. It's a
It
good
is
game.
fun. You come out smiling,
It sure
right?
is popular now,
Yes.
everywhere, everywhere.
So someone is asking, is every day so the Atlantis water park is pretty busy, right? We all know that.
Usually.
So is there certain days that might be quieter than others? Like there's no cruises arriving, or I don't know.
Yeah, the weekends always tend to be less busy because it's a changeover day for a lot of people. So there's flights going in and out. A lot of people, although it's not the case with as much the case with Nassau as with other destinations because of the fact that and which I didn't even touch on, but most of the agents probably know. The nice thing about Nassau is that it's very close in comparison to a lot of the other destinations in the Caribbean. From Toronto, it's a 3 hour flight. From Montreal, it's about 3.5 hours. So consequently, you do get flights every day of the week, but the most popular days for arrivals and departures are always Saturdays and Sundays. Okay. Plus, Saturdays and Sundays are embarkation days in Miami, Port Canaveral, all of the other places for the cruise ships. So, not as many cruise ships are in Nassau at the time. So, definitely the weekends are the best time. And again, this is why Atlantis has limited the amount of day passes that they do now. And I should mention that as well. If you do want a day pass for your clients, best to book it as far in advance because as you possibly can because they do have a limited amount. And the reason they're doing that is they just don't want it overcrowded in the park, on the property, to for their clients who are staying there.
Lisa Lua, that I believe answers the question that you were mentioning as well. And let's see here. Okay, we just have one more. Patrick is saying the Grey Cliff establishment and pool is simply amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible because the swimming pool and it's surrounded. This property, I love this property. This property is in the center of downtown Nassau. But when you're out at the pool, it's completely surrounded by jungle. You would have no idea that you're in Nassau, and it's just amazing. So you said Patrick? That was Patrick that
Yes, it
said
was
that? Yeah,
Patrick.
I'm with you, Patrick. It's pretty incredible for sure.
Oh, so good. You had some great questions today, Brent.
Yeah,
Great. You did a really great presentation. There's a lot of people saying what a great presentation you did, and they're
thank
really
you.
happy to get all the informations. And you did a
Thank
great
you.
job. You're a wonderful ambassador for Nassau and Paradise Island.
Thank you. Thanks very much. And for everybody out there, I mean, if there's anything that I didn't touch on, anything you have any questions about or anything at any time, that's what we do. Let us know and we'll help you out.
Amazing. And don't forget, if you guys get an email from Brent in a couple of days, It's really good news because you know what? Black Friday's coming up, Amazon
It
Prime Days,
is.
or I don't know, it's all out there, right?
I know. I know. As
Amazing.
a
Well,
matter of
thank
fact, this Amazon, we'll try and do this Amazon card real quick, Susan, because I was just thinking, I believe that Amazon has a big Black Friday sale coming on this week. So if we get that card out there even quicker, it'll have even more value.
It's true. Everyone wants a good deal, right?
I know. I know. So we'll do this fast.
Oh, awesome. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, well, guys, look out for your email in the next day or so from Brent. And again, if you're going to be in Newfoundland and Halifax, we're going to see you all Wednesday and Thursday for the Spoiled
Come and
Agent
see
Get
us.
Spoiled show.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank
Sounds
you,
good.
Brent. It's always a pleasure to work with you. We love you here at Spoiled Agent, and we love
Thanks.
all of our Spoiled Agents for joining us, whether it's over coffee or for lunch, wherever you're located. But you covered the country today, Brent.
Yeah, it looked that way. I know. I was seeing all the names pop up. It's coast to coast. That's what we like.
Awesome. And they're here on Facebook saying thanks, Brent, as well. So
Oh,
thank
that's
you,
nice.
Zoom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Spoiled Agents. It was great.
Thanks, everybody. Have a nice day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.